Alhamdulillah, I am here with Nisa Muhammad. We're going to, those of you, many of you already know her, and we're going to introduce you to another set of people who are linked with Imam Faheem Shuaibe and M.A.R.I.A.M, and we are honored to have the opportunity to link with Nisa Muhammad and Wedded Bliss and all the other things that we're going to find out about during this very short interview. If we get lucky, inshallah, maybe a couple of interviews for this just few moments. So I'm going to introduce you now as I interview online Nisa Muhammad. Nisa, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Alhamdulillah, it's so good. It's one of my high honors and pleasures to meet you. I met you on video and, of course, through the CNN piece as well. But for the benefit of the people who are going to have the good blessing of having the opportunity to see you in this very short interview, tell us about yourself first. I mean, I'm talking about where you were born and all those little kind of things so people can get a feel for the person.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum to your viewers. I'm a native Washingtonian, product of public schools, went to the University of Maryland, graduated from the University of Maryland with a degree in psychology. Kind of thought I knew what I wanted to do, didn't know what I wanted to do, went to Howard University to study journalism because I thought I really wanted to be a writer. And I didn't have a graduate degree in journalism, so I took journalism classes and then started to write for the Final Call newspaper, just published by the Nation of Islam. And really, I've been writing for them and have really enjoyed that experience. I've been married. I know the joys of wedded bliss. I know the sorrows of divorce. I have 5 children. I was doing an article for the Final Call newspaper on fatherhood when I read some information that black married men made more money, and I thought, this can't be right. And, did some research and found an incredible amount of information about marriage, especially for black people, and started wondering, well, does anybody black know this stuff? Black people make more money, they live longer, better health, children do better in school, just an incredible wealth of information about marriage. But of course, we have the lowest marriage rates, highest divorce rates, highest out-of-wedlock childbirth rates, and so my research and study took me to a conference called Smart Marriages, which is an incredible conference. It was in Orlando. There were about 2,000 people there, only about 20 black people. And I kept thinking, well, we really need this information more than anybody. And so while I was there, I was talking to a Caucasian man and telling him, what I was thinking about doing some work in the black community around marriage. And he said, why? Black people don't want to get married. And I was like, what did he say? He said, look at the numbers. You have the lowest marriage rates. All your children are born out of wedlock. You all don't want to get married. And I was stunned and was really motivated to say, you know what, I know behind the numbers there's got to be something else. There just has to be another story behind these numbers, and the numbers are facts, those are the numbers, but I knew there had to be more. And so I went back to D.C. and organized my first conference, Reviving Marriage in the Black Community, and really wasn't sure anybody was going to come, much less pay. And I had over 200 people who came. 200 people who were hungry and needy and thirsty for information on how to save their marriages. Or people who wanted to get married but didn't want to have another failed union. Didn't want to repeat the same mistakes that they had seen all around them. And so I was just really impressed. And I thought I did my conference. It was great. People were like, if this doesn't help us, we're headed to divorce court. So that's a lot of heavy pressure. So the conference turned out really good. And I was like, I'm done, And then I spoke at the next Smart Marriages in 2002. And, really talked about the need to have a day to celebrate marriage in our community. Because generally, if you're talking about marriage in the black community, whether you're Muslim, Christian, whatever, income, education, somebody done me wrong, we're breaking up, we're getting a divorce, it's just not happening. So I wanted to have a day where we could celebrate marriage in the black community. So I talked about having a black marriage day to really celebrate it and, kind of change the cultural mind of things and make it a very celebratory event. So little did I know there was a reporter in the audience from Essence Magazine. And so about a month or so later, she called me and said, when is Black Marriage Day? And I was like, what? She's like, oh, no, I heard you're talking about Black Marriage Day, and I just want to know when is Black Marriage Day. And I was like, let me call you right back. Scrambled, look in the calendar, pick a day for Black Marriage Day, get a website going. So I called her back. I said, okay, fourth Sunday in March, that's going to be Black Marriage Day. People can get information at blackmarriageday.com. And Essence did an article. Essence did a small article in the November 2002 magazine about Black Marriage Day. And I was so impressed that there were other people who thought like me that really we could do something to change our condition. And the first Black Marriage Day was in 2003 with only 30 cities. And today it has grown to over 300 communities around the country who do something to celebrate marriage. And this past Black Marriage Day, we got an incredible amount of press. We debuted a movie called You Saved Me in 25 cities. Tyler Perry's marketing group contacted me about partnering with them to promote his new movie, Why Did I Get Married To, on Black Marriage Day. So it has just become an incredible phenomenon about marriage and how we can do things to strengthen marriage in the Black community.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. In the we at the M.A.R.I.A.M Institute, we viewed your piece, or the piece that involved you, and I want you to give us a little background on that piece as well, the piece Happily Ever After.
Okay.
And everybody, I mean, my daughter is just a super fan of yours, and she's my right hand in the context of these M.A.R.I.A.M conferences, and so we aired that. And so tell us a little background about how that came about, or your role in that.
Okay, how that came about, Happily Ever After. Lamar Tyler is local in D.C., where I am, and he works for Fox News, and contacted me because he got kind of tired of seeing the same negative images in the media about Black couples, and asked me would I be a part of his film, Happily Ever After. And I'm trying to remember, this was probably after I had done the CNN piece. So let me go back to a little bit about the CNN piece, and then I'll come back to Happily Ever After. I got a call one day at work from a producer from Black in America saying, I'm trying to reach Nisa Muhammad about, being a part of Black in America too. So I was like, this is a joke, But she's like, no, really, we want to include a piece about marriage in Black in America too. So I was like, wow. So what it turns out, the first Black in America had a lot of negative information about the Black family and about our low marriage rates and Black women not being able to find prospective husbands, and it's just really a sad story. So they wanted to do something different. So CNN was looking for an organization that promoted marriage to the Black community and found me on the internet. I mean, just found me on the internet. And so they talked to me, and I said, sure. Didn't think it was going to be serious. And so they came and they followed first they investigated me through and through. Talked to couples that I had worked with, talked to people around the country that I had worked with, that I had trained, investigated my curriculum, just all of this. I was like, fine, because I'm very comfortable in the work that I do, and know it's just a solid piece of education that can really help our community. So they did all that, and then they started coming to my classes. And they wanted to follow a couple that was on the brink of divorce. So this was the catch. We want to do your program, but we want to see if it works with a couple on the brink of divorce. So I had the awesome task of finding a couple that was on the brink of divorce. And I found this wonderful couple who, she was, women are always willing to make it work. And it's a lot of times it's the men who are sometimes reluctant. And so I said, just come to one class. And this is what I say to people. If you come to one class, I am pretty sure we can give you enough information that you will see this will help your marriage. So they came to one class, and CNN was there filming that class, and they were hooked. And so CNN followed them throughout their sojourn through the class, and because their problems were so deep, 20 years of stuff, I wasn't sure they were going to make it either. So I'm like, okay, this is on national TV. CNN is filming this, and I'm giving them my all. Myself and Brother Jamil, who works with me, I mean, we are praying, we're making dua. We're like, okay, this is going to work. So we helped them, and we did our regular class because we didn't want to give people a false impression of what it is that we do. So we did our class is 8 weeks, and CNN filmed the class. And I got to know CNN so well. They would film a class. I would go to the studio the next day and debrief.